Yay. I wanted this video to be a 5 things that I would tell myself 2 years ago or 3 years ago when I was literally in the thick of my anxiety, my depression, and I just had no idea who the fuck I was and I had no idea how to get out of that. And I really just want to go over a couple of things that I feel like I would have loved to hear someone talk about back then. And again, no script. I'm really just always freeballing. um, but I think the biggest thing for me is I always said to myself, discipline today is freedom tomorrow. And it's something I'm really big on because in the moment it's like, I don't want to do that. But discipline actually isn't a toxic thing because it literally is just how much respect you have for yourself. And discipline truly is just making your future life easier. And when I say future life, I mean like your tomorrow. And this is why I always lay out my gym clothes. I always ingredient prep at least, or I know what I'm eating, or I just make it easier for myself, pardon me, to go through the next day with ease because it was nothing. I need a drink of water. Can you get me a drink, please? No. There is nothing worse than going through your day and rushing, forgetting shit, feeling like your mind is everywhere because you didn't prep the night before or you forgot something or you just feel like you're bending over backwards for every single other person on this planet except yourself. And it's so easy to do that because it's comfortable. It's so easy to just continue scrolling. It's so easy to be like, I'll do that later. But like genuinely, what is later? There is no later. It's now or literally never. And I don't mean that to scare you, but also low key I do because there was one podcast I listened to and it was like, if you're not present, you are absent. And I'm like, that's so fucking true because it's like, I could go down the biggest rabbit hole about time and I think about this probably way too much. And maybe this is a overthinking coping mechanism, if you will. However, what is time? What is time besides the present moment? What was yesterday? What is tomorrow? Genuinely. What is the difference between a Monday and a Wednesday? And again, I'm going to leave it at that because I could fucking go for years on this. But genuinely, the only moment that we have now is literally now. And now could also be tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to go too deep, sorry. What I'm trying to say is that if you don't prioritize yourself in the now, then you're not going to prioritize yourself in the later either. And I remember there was one particular day and I was like, I'm so fucking sick of my own bullshit. I'm so fucking sick of telling myself I'll do it later, and then never actually fucking doing it. And the moment, I kid you not, from that day onwards, I was like, I am doing every single thing that I said I would do, even if it hurts, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's like whatever, because in my opinion, and this is something I still remind myself of, there is nothing more painful than being in a body that doesn't feel like yours and being in a mind that is everywhere except right now. And for me, that was my ultimate turning point, and I was like, I genuinely cannot do this and I don't want to live like this. And the only solution that I had at the time was to just do every fucking thing that I said I would do. And now I've learnt so much about human biology and neuroscience and psychology, and it just makes sense. And I'm like, I'm so grateful that I did that. And I want this page, I want these videos to be, I'm honestly filming them for you, obviously, but I'm filming it for the version of me that existed like 3 years ago because I'm like, I want someone to say this shit because it changed my life. And if I can change one other person's life, I love that. So first one is discipline today is freedom tomorrow. Second one would be who you surround yourself with and the environment that you put yourself in is a lot more important than we think. And you've probably heard this, but we become like the 5 people around us and we become our habits, we become our environment around us. And it's so fucking true, because human beings, we're social, and that's just how we pick up traits and we want to fit in, and that's really cool. But if the people around you don't have the same goals as you, or don't support you, or it doesn't mean that every single person in your circle needs to be the exact same as you, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that if you feel shit after leaving social situations, or if you feel like you doubt yourself, or if you feel like you're not good enough, and you have given them the opportunity to meet you where you're at, and it still isn't aligned for you, if you will, you have free will. Go and choose different. And it is so much easier to see what we're going to lose before we actually experience what we're going to gain, because I truly believe nothing is taken away from you, or yeah, if you will, without it being replaced by something better. And this is a whole mindset shift. And I think the whole, like, it sounds so cliche and it sounds so oversaturated, but the whole mindset industry and self-help and self-development and all of that, it is so oversaturated, but can I speak again today? But it is so important, because I truly believe that the world will be such a better place if everyone actually understood their emotions, put themselves first, and didn't use unhealthy coping mechanisms to deal with the voids that they have. And I say that because I used to be the most aggressive, reactive person ever, and it's something that all of this work has helped me work through, because when you can understand that life is happening for you, and I'm just going to say that this is number 3. Life happens for you, not to you. And I used to hear this a lot, and I was like, shut the fuck up. Like, my life is hard, and other people have hard lives, and they didn't want that. And you can argue anything. In my experience, every single challenge that has come my way has brought me the most insane opportunities that I've ever experienced, because it really showed me who I was and how I could work through those and who I needed to become. And I truly believe that you're not given opportunities of growth in the form of challenges if you are not capable of overcoming those things. And in times of hardship, it's something that I used to remember quite a bit, because I was like, why the fuck would this be my life if I genuinely wasn't capable of overcoming it? And that alone, call it faith, call it delusion, call it self-trust, call it whatever, I don't care. But that was one of the things that really helped me through a lot of hard times where I didn't understand why things were happening. And as humans, we love to label things, and we love to have control, and we love to understand things and name things. And for me, that was my way to cope. And it made it a lot easier, because, not to invalidate my experience or your experience, but being able to understand that things were given to me for a reason and an opportunity to grow. And I'm not going to blanket term that for everyone. That's just my experience, and you can argue that if you will. Why are there so many bugs right now? Oh, that was the next one I was going to say. Also, my memory is like kind of bad. Oh yeah, the other thing I used to say to myself, and I sometimes still do, especially in moments of doubt or fear or whatever, because we're not supposed to eradicate those negative emotions. That's not healthy. It's more so, how can we actually move through them in a healthy way? And when I feel fear, anxiety, stress, whatever, all the natural reactions that our body does and our nervous system does to keep us safe, whenever I feel those things, I literally ask myself, if success was guaranteed in 6 months, what would I do today? No manners. And that, along with the idea that every single challenge came my way because it was teaching me something, and it was an opportunity for me to grow, and I was capable of achieving, or overcoming that because it's in my life. Those two things were probably the biggest things that actually kept me going in my life. I love when he does that. I just washed them. Smell good? No. Stay there. Also having a dog to just like, anytime I cry, he'd always come and lick my tears. It's so cute. And then there was never a time I could cry in peace. Oh, he's found his bow. Beautiful. I forgot what fucking number I'm up to, but if success was guaranteed in 6 months, how would you act? What would you do? What would be the first thing you do? And this also reminds me of the book that I read probably like a year and a half ago. You've probably heard about it. What's it called? The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, I think. It's of similar notion. Like, if you're on your deathbed, if you're on your deathbed, what would be one thing that you regret not doing if you were to die tomorrow? Sounds morbid, and any single time I speak about death, I want it to be so normal because, again, not invalidating anyone's experience around death, but I've seen people die and people have left my life, people have left lives of people that are close to me, and I didn't want to be here for a period of my life. And I think being exposed to that kind of... Wow, he's really going at it. Being exposed to that, I think, is honestly the best exposure therapy because no one is escaping death. And I think this is also something I come back to when I cringe myself out or, like, I'm nervous to film a video and now I don't really give a fuck because, like, whatever. Everyone's gonna die. Everyone is human. It actually doesn't fucking matter. And I used to overthink so much, and never in my life did I think I'd be fucking posting on YouTube because that just would have made me want to vomit. And now I'm just like, I see people and myself as, well, I am a person. That sounds like I'm not a person. Weird. I see everyone as just people. Like, everyone's a fucking person. And taking people off pedestals really made me realize that we have so many commonalities. Everyone's a human. Everyone's gonna die. Everyone has a family. Everyone has friends. Everyone wants to love. Everyone loves people. Everyone, whatever. Like, we're all fundamentally the same fucking person. Sorry, not the same person, but the same thing, a person. And maybe this comes back to, like, a whole science point of view from me, because I'm like, everyone has, like, it literally is biologically... What? Excuse me? Like, sorry, to sum it up, everyone's human. And I think for a lot of the time, I just don't care, because I imagine myself at the end of my life being like, what the fuck? Why did I not do that? Or why did I do that? And I hope it doesn't take your rock bottom to make you realize that. And, like, it did for me, and I'm grateful for it. But, like, if I can tell you anything from this video is to give less of a fuck. And the only way you're going to give less of a fuck is actually just by doing something. And I do a lot of things and I'm shitting myself. I had to make a phone call today and I had to fucking count down just to call them, because it meant something scary in my mind, and my nervous system was like, fuck no, I don't want to do that. But I did it anyway. And that's the whole point of a lot of this work, is because when you can give your brain evidence to back up the story that it tells itself, because everyone makes everything mean something about us, and that's what humans do. We create meaning for things. And if we can create meaning around things and create evidence for our brain to realize that we actually do the thing even when we're fucking scared, that is what is going to give you genuine self-trust, respect, resilience, discipline, confidence, whatever the fuck that you want to insert there. And I have to come back to this so often. And just because you're successful, just because you're older, just because you're whatever, know more, have more knowledge, like whatever, everyone still does things when they're shit scared. And that is something that I wish I could have told myself 3 years ago, that you're never going to feel, you've probably heard this a million times, I've heard this a million times, and it's never really clicked until I started doing it. You're never going to feel ready. You're never going to feel completely confident, because you don't have that evidence for your brain to be like, oh, I can actually survive the thing that scared me because I haven't done it yet. And the only way to get that evidence is by fucking doing it. And it sounds so easy when you say it out like pardon, out loud like that. But this comes back to nervous system safety and creating that internal safety for yourself. And the only way to do that is by starting small and working your way up to more challenging tasks. And something that I like to do is, if I do have a few things that are stressing me out, or I really want to complete them but it feels really overwhelming, I'll block it up into my week, so it doesn't feel like I have to conquer the world on a random Wednesday, because fuck that. And if there's anything else I could go back and tell myself, again, I don't know what number I'm up to, I'm just going to say 7, would be go back to basics. One of my biggest mottos is less is more. Look at your nutrition. Look at your training. How much time are you spending on your phone? How much time are you spending in nature? And what are your thoughts like? And genuinely, when was the last time you sat with yourself? When was the last time you journaled, if ever? And failure is not something to avoid, because I'm a very naturally avoidant person, which is something I've had to work through, and I still work through, because again, we're not supposed to get rid of unnatural biology. We're just supposed to understand it and work with ourselves to actually create the life that we want to live, so we're not self-sabotaging all the time. And my self-sabotaging behaviors was to fucking avoid everything. And even now, like the phone call, I was like, I don't want to do it, I'll do it tomorrow. I'm like, dude, tomorrow doesn't fucking exist. It's now or never. So I forgot where I was going with that. The thing that I really want to say is that you'll never feel ready, you'll never feel confident. Your brain needs that evidence, and the only way to get that evidence is by doing something. And if you find something really overwhelming, just figure out the first step, and that can literally be 20 minutes of researching what you need to do. You don't have to do anything, just write yourself a plan. Set 20 minutes and write yourself a plan, come back to it the next day, or the next day after that. Like, it doesn't need to be done overnight. You can't solve the world's problems overnight. And it's also, I'm going to add this on, number 8, it's not selfish to prioritize yourself. In fact, it's actually selfless to engage in self-development. And I'm actually going to say it's selfish to not engage in self-development. Truly, it is selfish, because the amount of times that I lashed out at people, I was just a rude human being because I didn't know how to process my emotions. And I truly believe that it's the most selfless thing you can do is learning about yourself and learning how to actually make your life a better life, so then you can go out and help others, or even just being a fucking good human being, and your energy comes across like that. So I'm not going to sum it up, because maybe I'll write them. Actually, no, I don't like editing. You can just watch it. Less is more. Yum. Thank you. I washed him yesterday. He smells really good. Don't you? We had a whole clean. Alright. Gonna love you and leave you. Bye.